You guys know what time it is. Centuria chapter 11. We're jumping straight into it. Guys, get ready to cook and drop a follow if you're reading along with me. Let's lock it in. Read this manga already. If you're not already reading it, what's stopping you? Just go online, look up Centuria manga, and get to reading, partner. I don't know what else to tell you. Everybody else is doing it. Your boy's doing it. Your boy's trying to get everybody else to do it. It's time to hop on. I think you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, let's dive in. I've been yapping for too long. Alright, we open this chapter to a flashback of a young Engvall speaking to her warrior father. And the opening tagline reads, "Death is a constant companion. How does one face the inevitable?" Engvall's father says, "Engvall, your mother was smiling until the very end." Engvall thinks to herself, "I was told my mom was a fearless person who died fighting on the battlefield." Engvall's father continues, "Her last smile is burned into my memory. She knew it would be my final memory of her, so she made sure to smile before she left this world. She always knew how to get to me. If you ever have a family of your own, make sure to smile for them. You'll need it since you're so unapproachable." And young Engvall responds, "Shut up!" Her inner monologue continues, "Even my father only smiled at me until the end." The tagline continues, "Bury your fangs at your enemies and smile for the people you love." Kuramori-san, when I catch you... I don't know if you guys remember when I was ranting about this a couple chapters ago. If you haven't, go back and read my series from start to finish. I think you'll like it. I literally made the comment that I did not think this story was implying Engvall's parents died in any sort of fight or battle or anything, and that they were still very much alive, and that Engvall just decided to move off on her own. No, we can't have that shit, apparently, because Kuramori-san doesn't want us to have a good time. No, we have to have both of Engvall's parents confirmed killed at the very beginning of the chapter. Why would you do that to my girl Engvall, Kuramori-san? What kind of beef are you trying to get into with me right now? You can't do that to my goat. That can't go unpunished. How dare you? Back in the present day, Engvall thinks to herself, "I'm not as good at smiling as my parents." Titi suddenly calls out from the doorway, "Engvall, come quick!" And we see that Diana has stood up on her own for the first time in her 1 year alive so far. Once again, happy birthday, Diana. I know Mira's proud of you. You keep being the real one that you are for my boy Julian. And Titi continues, "Look, she stood up on her own. See? She's amazing. Diana's a genius." Diana just cute. Wah! Engvall beams down at the sight, wearing a warm smile on her face despite herself. Diana falls to her knees as Julian goes to catch her. "Whoa, Diana! Did you just try taking a step?" "Aw, too bad," Titi says. Engvall smiles, her inner monologue concluding, "But in front of these kids, I can." It's this guy again. We cut back to the western border where around 500 knights have gathered near ARKOS at his little table and chair with a half-empty pitcher of water in it. And the knight leading the army asks, "What are you doing just sitting here? This place will soon become a battlefield. Go home, boy. I'll let this slide just once." ARKOS sneers as the markings flare to life around his eyes, water bubbling in midair between himself and the knight captain. "You will? How generous of you! I'm afraid I won't be extending that same olive branch to you." The captain's confused. "What did you say to me?" And as more water floats upward between them, the captain exclaims, "Hey! Explain yourself, now! What are you doing, boy?" ARKOS grins wickedly, forming a bullet out of water and firing it at the captain, whose body explodes from the chest up, popping open like a balloon made of blood. It's very grotesque. You'll understand soon enough. I'm reading this back right now, and holy shit, ARKOS is an absolute menace to society. What the fuck do you mean he's popping these people open like human water balloons? What are we doing here? How the fuck does that even happen? I don't know, but this dude's absolutely wild. Now the other 499 soldiers all scream in horror, shock, and rage as their fallen captain stands half the man he once was. "Ugh! What the hell did he do? Something's off! He's the enemy! Kill him!" The knights charge into an attack that would lead them straight to their doom, as ARKOS uses his power of water manipulation to send explosive bullets ricocheting through each one of their bodies, mangling them all in grotesque and unnatural ways. Blood and chunks of meat fall everywhere around Arcos as he just sits there, completely nonchalantly in his chair without an expression to show on his face. And the knights cry out, "We're under attack! Draw your weapons! Give all men the order!" As the men charge towards Arcos, he smiles with one hand resting on his chin, and behind him this massive orb of water created from the blood of fallen knights looms overhead. He transforms it into a slicing whirlpool in the sky, sending the wave of bloody water crashing onto the army of knights. What the... Urgh! The slashing waves sever the limbs of hundreds of knights all at once, as Arcos begins a dialogue with his maid. "Anyway, the village you mentioned in the report, it's not too far from here, right?" And the maid responds, "It's about 60 kilometers from here." Arcos sighs. "That sounds pretty far to me." One lone soldier steps to Arcos with his sword raised, barely alive, with half of his torso having been shredded by that massive wave. His left arm is completely blown off, along with multiple chunks of his chest and stomach. "I'll kill you!" he cries in a last-ditch effort, before Arcos' power surges in his eye, freezing the knight in his tracks as his body begins to disfigure horrendously. And Arcos says chillingly, "Humans are nothing but water-filled sacks to me." We see that Arcos has used the knight's exposed wounds to control the water within his blood already pouring out of him, essentially popping him open like a bag of popcorn as he screams in agony. And blood rains down everywhere. Arcos remains completely unaffected, but his maid lifts her arm, shielding herself from being covered too much. "Hey! Watch it!" Arcos suspends the raining blood in midair, demonstrating excellent control over his element, as his maid says, "Disgusting! You can control it, so don't let it fly all over the place. You got it all over me." Arcos just laughs and brushes her off. "As if I care." He sighs, saying, "I'm so bored," as he launches the suspended blood in all different directions. We cut back to the village where this lady right here, the prophetess from the royal capital of Rumbalkar, has arrived, backed by a legion of knights. And Engval is the first to greet her, kneeling in reverence. "Welcome, prophetess Elstree. Thank you for coming all this way." And Elstree replies, "I thank you for your report regarding the prophecy, Knight Engval. My prophecies always come to pass, but the details are oft obscured. I know not how the prophecy shall manifest. A demon, a disease, an enemy assassin from a foreign country? What I do know is that I can identify whatever may bring the king's death once my eyes are laid upon it. The monster you observed in the forest, and the superior being that followed. I must witness them myself to be sure of the connection. First, I would like to hear recounts from all those who saw this supernatural phenomenon." Engval replies with a nod. "Understood. I will gather them." Back at the western border, every last soldier has been viciously mangled and turned into human spaghetti by Arcos as he holds the last surviving knight suspended in midair. Although he's not really surviving, he's pretty much already half dead. And Arcos manipulates the flesh on his face very grotesquely before turning him into a human water balloon like the rest of his fallen comrades. The water from the soldier's blood lands in Arcos' pitcher as it fills completely. This is just fucking nasty. If you guys saw this, your reaction would be the same as the maid's because she looks like she's on the verge of throwing up. Arcos picks up the pitcher, saying, "I guess I didn't even need half." He drinks from that same pitcher of water, cultivated by the mass slaughter of knights and the combined liquids of their blood, all mingling together in one pitcher. His maid watches on nauseously. "Ooh." And Arcos sighs. "Well, that was no fun. This won't do at all. At this rate, my power will wither, wasting it on puppets like these. Let's head to that village now." The maid responds, "Yes, Master Arcos." He grins wickedly to himself, saying, "I've been looking for a new toy, one that won't break even if I use all my power." And we cut back to Julian enjoying life with Diana in his new home. The closing tagline to this chapter reads, "A twisted nature revealed by supernatural powers." And that's where the chapter ends. Wow. Just wow. I am absolutely speechless as to how well this chapter fleshed out the conflicts of the story. I mean, we've successfully transitioned now from man versus nature to man versus man, like I mentioned in the last chapter, right? We've gone from fighting demonic chimeras and abyssal leviathans to now seemingly going to be Julian versus ARKOS. And we don't even know for sure if ARKOS is going to journey to the village solely for the sake of fighting whatever's in the forest, or if he's going to eventually end up battling Julian. And it seems more likely that those two are going to cross paths and face off eventually, since they contain the same markings, and the story heavily implies that they're going to meet up at some point, especially at the end of this chapter. I mean, we saw ARKOS turning people into literal fucking water balloons. That might be the single most unique adaptation of water-based abilities that I've seen yet. I mean, most animanga are keen on having their characters' water abilities used to manipulate the sea or other bodies of water, or to just come out of thin air. I mean, look at Black Clover. You have Noelle Silva, who has terrible control over her magic, her water magic in the first half, but after spending some time near the sea, she gains a hell of a lot more control and becomes a better mage for it. That's usually the path they go down. This guy is an absolute menace to society. This motherfucker is taking water out of people's blood and using it to turn them into literal water balloons and pop them open like bags. What the actual... dude, what is happening? Like, I've never seen something used this way. And it's absolutely insane to see. I'm loving it so far. Obviously, this guy is very dangerous. I'm low-key kind of scared to see what he's going to achieve in this story. However, if they do run Julian versus ARKOS, y'all know with the quality of fights in this story so far that it's going to be complete and utter peak. So stay tuned for that. Before I move on, I also want to point out that we finally have a name for the royal prophetess, that being Elstree. And I'm not going to lie, I mean, come on, she's pretty cute. Let's be real, bro. Yeah, I said it. But all jokes aside, for real, we can assume Elstree is going to play a huge role in the story as it moves along. I'm sure her omnipotent vision of the future is going to reveal some absolutely crazy threat to the king. And whether it's the forest goddess or the sea goddess, or it ends up being Julian himself, who knows for sure. It could even be that goat creature that we saw in chapter 3, the one that hasn't really been touched on since. But I think it's safe to say we can expect big things from Elstree and Centuria. Now lastly, I ranted about this earlier, but why, Kudomori-san? Why? I literally said a couple videos prior that I didn't think the story was implying Engvall's parents had died. And then sure enough, right at the start, you just crush my hopes and dreams of Engvall having a normal, happy life with her parents just like that. When I catch you, Kudomori-san, I am starting to feel like I'm reading Attack on Titan all over again. Both of her parents died in battle with smiles on their faces. And no one's backstory is ever happy. I mean, their sad backstories always seem to symbolize something bad happening to them. Look at Mira, for example. She literally sacrificed herself to the sea so that she wouldn't have to see Julian die the way her own biological son did, protecting her from slave traders. Now, I am hoping and praying and knocking on wood and crossing my fingers that this doesn't mean anything bad for our gal Engvall. Because if you know me, you know that she's my goat, my absolute goat of Centuria. So pray for her, chat. Anyways, that's about all I have for you guys today. That's going to wrap up my commentary on Centuria, Chapter 11. Comment down below with your thoughts and theories on the series as a whole. Thanks so much for watching. God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.